Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Poet Speaks podcast. Now, our next guest is a multi-talented artist, educator, and leader who has dedicated her life to sharing the transformative power of art with others. With the name meaning star, she shines brightly in a variety of creative endeavors, including publishing a poetry collection, These Dry Bones, which shares the story of how she overcame childhood trauma, and hosting a spoken word TV show, Speak, that aired on Time Warner Cable's Faith on Demand channel. After a decade in the classroom, she now works with individuals, groups, and organizations to amplify their authenticity and empower them to become a better version of themselves through the arts. She's a firm believer that art saved her life and all people should learn how to tap into its healing benefits. Welcome to the Poet Speaks podcast, Estee Marie. Estee, how are you?
I am well. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. No, we really appreciate you taking some time out to be on the show today. Now, first and foremost, tell us a bit about where you are currently in the world, what your location is, where do you create and make your poetry?
All right. So I am a California native, but I am a transplant over to Texas. So I'm now creating in Houston, in the Houston area.
Awesome, awesome. Absolutely. Tell us, is Houston a pretty big, it's a pretty big hub. We know of well, Houston's a pretty big hub. I know a lot of African restaurants are in Houston. I know a lot of
hmm
African Nigerian people that live in Houston. But tell me, is it a creative hub of poetry as well?
From what I am gathering, so I'm very new to the area and I'm still figuring out the scene, but there is a page that I followed, Juan Poetry, and I believe their open mic is in Houston. So I'm excited to make my way down to that area to be able to connect with the creative scene here in the city.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, tell us a little bit about obviously you're a transplant. So California born, grown, and bred, correct?
Yes, yes, yes.
Awesome. I'm a Sacramento native myself. So tell me a bit about what part of Cali did you grow up in? And did you find poetry in your childhood in California, or did it find you, or did you find it in
uh,
some other place?
I would say it found me. I am a Southern California native, so been SoCal pretty much up until last year. I've been a SoCal kid. Um, I believe it was eighth grade. In eighth grade, I took a creative writing class and I was able to really connect with what I was reading in that class. And it gave me a spark of hope. I was uh, a kid who was, when you looked at me, everything looked fine. And especially in today's climate, we see that like there's so many people who on the outside think everything looks okay. But depression is real and it manifests in many different ways. I was a very depressed, angry at the world kid because of the trauma that I faced, but I didn't know what to do with all those things that I was feeling. So I showed up to school every day. I was the straight A student, played sports, all the things that you're supposed to do. I was doing them, but internally, I had all this stuff going on that I didn't know what to do with. And then here comes this creative writing class in eighth grade, and I'm reading this poetry, and I'm like, hmm, so metaphors allow you to say a thing without actually saying the thing that you're talking about. I think I found something here. And that's when I began to actually write. And a lot of the things, they were kind of, they were sad, they were depressing, but there was a mix. There was a mix, I would say. But that's where I found my spark in that creative writing class in eighth grade. It like opened me up to a whole new world of being able to express those things that I didn't know how to accept and then didn't know how to voice.
Yeah, that's such an interesting thing. So you kind of found the connection there. I mean, what did your kind of career, what was your poetry looking like at that very young age? Did you know that this would become a career of yours, this artistic endeavor at that point, forming those metaphors and similes together?
No idea. In my mind at that time, it was just something for me to get these things out because I really didn't know who to talk to. I didn't really have an outlet. I didn't have someone who I trusted with this information, really.
Mm,
So it was more so for me and my notebook.
mm,
My notebook was my sacred place where I was able to just keep those things. And honestly, it wasn't until um, after college in my adult life where I actually hit the stage and shared a piece. And it literally was like by accident. I had no intention on ever becoming like a poet who's out there speaking. Like literally it was just things for me. I shared some poems on blogs here and there, and I received a comment on a blog post that was basically saying, "Oh my God, this is exactly how I was feeling. You put into words what I was feeling." And in that moment, I had this kind of epiphany like, oh, okay, so maybe this isn't just healing for me. Maybe sharing these poems is healing for other people too. And so that epiphany happened there. And this is still, I had never read any poems out loud. So this was just kind of like, okay, well, maybe I'll keep, posting on blogs or whatever the case is. Um, but there was an event that a friend of mine was putting on. He was having like this youth event, and a lot of artists were dropping out at the last minute. And I'm there helping him, set up or whatever. And he's like, "You write poetry. Can you share a poem?" And I'm like, "Absolutely not." Uh, and he's like, "No, I need you. Please just share a poem. One poem. That's all I'm asking. One poem." And I said, "Okay, fine." I go through my notebook and I'm like, okay, what poem will I share? I pick this piece, and there's a youth pastor who's in the audience after I do my piece. And he comes up to me and he's like, "I need you to come do this piece for my youth." And I'm looking at him like, "Sir, this was like a one time thing." Everything internally was like, no. But the words yes came out of my mouth. And it's just kind of like that's how it started. Like literally by accident. I had no intention on becoming a poet, but you know, other things were in store.
absolutely. No, that's pretty amazing. Tell us about, so where did that kind of go then with that pastor? I mean, where did that, I mean, after that incident occurred, what kind of was the trajectory for you?
So after that, I began sharing at different like local churches
Mm.
in like the Los Angeles, Orange County area. I would share different pieces, and then I began actually hosting my own open mic. So for a while, I was one of the few faith-based open mic events that was available in Los Angeles. From there, I was able to actually host a spoken word TV show for a few runs, and that was an amazing time and an amazing season. And I was so grateful to be a part of that, being able to share and have a platform for other artists. Like I am one who really believes in creating a space for others to share their story. And so from the open mic to then the TV show, it was just a great opportunity to be able to create space for others to begin to share their stories and their voices.
Wow. Okay. So let's jump right into that then. You hosted the TV show Speak that aired on Time Warner Cable's Faith on Demand channel. Tell us, I mean, how did that show come together? Speak. How did you become the host? How did you bring really spoken word poetry to TV? That really is an amazing feat. So big congratulations on that. Tell us a little bit more. Let's dive a little deeper into how that became a show for television.
Yeah, so I was, like I said, I was sharing poetry in the community, and so there was a call that got put out for local poets. Glass House Productions was the one producing the show, and I was actually co-host. So it was myself and two other amazing poets, Alexander James being one of them, and Ryan Everidge being the other host. So it was the three of us co-hosting this show, and it was just an amazing opportunity to be able to gather different poets from all over the city and have them share their pieces and share their faith in this way. Like being able to have a platform that's on TV, I mean, that's amazing. Like to be on TV, sharing your faith and being able to proclaim it without shame. Like it's just a beautiful thing. And it was great. I'm very excited and happy that that happened and that I could say I was a part of that moment in time.
Tell us a little bit about how so the show, okay. So actually Alexander James, he's been a guest actually on this show as well. Tell us about how that then kind of, so this was kind of an all call out in the community. The producers they wanted to create a show in, I'm assuming in
Mhm.
the LA area surrounding
Yes,
this.
yes.
So
Mhm.
this was a mix of poetry as well as faith. So a mix of
Yes,
poetry and religion all in one. Wow, wow,
yes.
wow. I mean, how did you get that call to become one of the hosts for that show? I mean, how what did that even feel like? That's beyond amazing.
It Getting that call was just for me, it was kind of unreal in the sense that it was never really something that I imagined happening. Like it literally came out of nowhere. I was satisfied with, putting on these monthly open mics and just having space for people to come. And then I get this call. I want to say it was Alex who called me and was like, "Hey, I've got this opportunity." And we all sat down. I think we went to dinner and we had a meeting about it. And it was really cool because Alex and his poetry group are people who I regularly called out to feature on at my open mic, and
Mm,
so it was just a great opportunity.
absolutely. Tell us how long did what was the format of the show and how many episodes or seasons did the show prolong for?
The show, I want to say we had 2 seasons. We had 2 runs, and the format was, myself, Alex, and Ryan. We would open up with pieces. We wrote a piece for the show, like the opening of the show. We wrote a piece together, and then we would invite local poets out, and they would have space. I want to say they had 10 minutes to perform their piece, I want to say. And every now and then we would have like a musical guest, but for the most part, it was poets, spoken word poets who were sharing on the show.
Nice. Did y'all have like an interview? You talked to the poet one on one, like an interview section of the show?
I So we would kind of have a quick intro, ask them a few questions, and then they would do their piece.
Okay. Wow,
Yeah.
okay. No, that's beyond incredible. So that aired on Time Warner Cable's Faith on Demand channel. What was it like seeing yourself on TV?
It was unreal. Like honestly, the feeling of having that moment, it's kind of surreal, especially um, with my degree was African American studies with an emphasis in film and television. So then being able to like go from that to then, hey, I'm helping to produce this show that's airing on TV. Like it made me feel good. Like I could check that on my off my box. Like, hey, I've been it. I've been on TV. I've done it.
No, absolutely. Well, yeah, that's congratulations on that. Is there plans to bring the show back? When was the last air date for it? When was the last episode played?
It's been a minute. I have some things in the works and some ideas of a new show that I am working towards that will definitely feature poets and creatives. I got some things in the works. I got some things in the
Sure, sure thing. Sure, we'll talk about those things later. Now, all right.
works.
Well, big congratulations. The TV show called Speak. Can folks still check it out anywhere online? Any type of places to check it out on any platform?
I am not I'm not sure if it is available yet. I know we were in talks of being able to get some of the episodes like on Roku. So if that does become available, I'll definitely put the word out.
Absolutely. Again, the TV show is called Speak. Now that sounds absolutely amazing. Congratulations on that, Esty. Now let's go into your your poetry collection, These Dry Bones. Tell us a little bit about that. I know you had mentioned we had mentioned in your bio these, share the story of how you overcame childhood trauma and kind of a full circle moment, I'm sure, of seeing what you've been able to accomplish in your life, overcoming obstacles, setback, and trauma. Tell us a bit about that poetry collection, These Dry Bones.
Yes. So the poetry collection, one day I was cleaning up and I found this folder full of writings and poems from when I first started writing in eighth grade.
Mm,
And so I had stopped writing for a while. And when I began writing again, um, I really wanted to share because I knew that the poetry that I had was a way of not just healing myself, but like I said before, healing other people. Like I got that comments, like these words are exactly what I was feeling, and I didn't know what words to describe how I was feeling, but this poem was it. So I wanted to share a way for people to be able to just kind of relate. There are so many people who have dealt with abuse and they don't speak about it. And there are so many people who have had moments where they just didn't feel like they could tell anyone. And I was one of those people. Like I said, I don't think I did not tell my parents about what happened to me until I was 24 years old. So I spent all those years just with this burden inside me. And so the collection, These Dry Bones, it's based on, or it follows the Valley of the Dry Bones passage in the
mm,
Bible, which
mm.
is Ezekiel 37. And it's basically where the Lord speaks to his prophet Ezekiel and he asked him, can these dry bones live again? And what that represented for me, those dry bones were all the dreams and the visions and the ideas and just the life that I felt like was not possible. That question, can these dry bones live again? Like, yes, they can. He told his prophet, prophesy to the dry bones, speak life to them. And so that goes back into, the words that we speak to ourselves, the conversation that we have with ourselves has so much power. And I had to come into a place where I was no longer just constantly speaking negative and focusing on the negative and being able to say, hey, I am capable of going after these dreams of mine. I am capable of being able to be loved and receive love and give it. Because when you come from a place of being abused, it's very difficult to be able to trust others and be able to accept that someone is being nice to you without an ulterior motive. So there's a lot that goes into that. And what I wanted to share with this story of overcoming is allowing people to know that if I'm able to be here and have this genuine smile on my face and no longer be masking a masking with the smile, but it's genuine, it's real. Like I no longer am walking around burdened with this pain, that you're able of being able to do it too. And so these dry bones shares that story of being able to tap into that hope, being able to tap into overcoming the setback to push forward, to
Absolutely.
live. Yes.
Absolutely. That's such an interesting point. I commend you for being able to speak about abuse that you've gone through. I'm curious too, it's always a question, obviously we see it in the news every day, right? Someone being abused, no matter what industry you see. I mean, we see these famous court cases, we see anecdotally through our everyday lives. Abuse is so prevalent in our communities and furthermore in our society. However, it's and everyone I do believe knows that. However, there's still such stigma about people coming out and being, transparent about the abuse that they're suffering from. Like you said, people suffer in silence. Why do you think that there still is stigma? Why do you think there still is that silence that's still so prevalent with so many survivors as they're trying to become thrivers? Why is that still there?
I think a lot of it has to do with, again, that internal dialogue. It's like, how did I allow myself to get in this position? So there's the shame that comes with, I should have seen the signs, like that there's so much blaming of self that happens where
Mm,
you don't even want to admit to anybody that something is going on because it's like, what are they going to think of me? Why wasn't I smart enough to see this? Like, there's so many of those internal like battles that happen within the mind. And those conversations are the things that keep people silent. Those conversations are things that make people like, oh, well, I'm just not going to say anything because I should have known better. I'm not going to say anything because they're going to think I insinuated it. I mean, when there's still topics of like, well, you wore that skirt you were asking for, like comments like that still get made in 2024. So you, those type of things, I think, keep people in a sense of silence, of not being sure how to say anything, who to say anything to. Like at my book release, I had people who came to me and they told me, they said, I've been through sexual abuse and I've never told anyone. You're the first person that I'm telling because I feel safe to say it now because of the poems that you shared. And like these are grown women who have never told anyone. So it it's sad to say, even in psychology journals, like the 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 statistics and things that get recorded, they're off because there's so many women and men who are silent, and especially the men. Like it's one thing for a woman to come forward and say, hey, I was abused, right? But men have it even worse because they're supposed to be men, they're supposed to be strong. Like all these societal stigmas that get placed cause people to feel like I have to be quiet.
yeah, and I think it's not even just gendered based. I mean, you look at some cultures, for a girl to come out and admit that, I mean, you'll be completely ostracized from your family whatsoever. Gender aside, race aside, I mean, it's a very complex issue with the outside factors that just ping on you. And I do believe it's different for everyone. And like you
Mm.
said, I mean, you have people, they take it with them to the grave, and that's like you said, yeah, those statistics, I mean, how accurate is that when most people just don't tell, right? It's very, very difficult. So yeah, I really do commend you for speaking about that in this in your poetry collection. Tell us a bit about like you said, the reception you've had. Like you said, you've had folks come up to you at your release. But what else has the reception been like of that collection so far?
Um, it's been very similar. It's been a lot of thank you for your transparency. Like your transparency allows me to face this reality of mine. So
Mm,
for me, that is the biggest reason and why I even felt it was necessary to share, because I know that healing comes through this shared community. Like, I don't know what everyone's beliefs are. Of course, everyone is entitled to their beliefs, but me as a believer, we overcome by the blood of the Lamb and the word of our testimony. And these testimonies and these shared stories allow not only us to overcome, but when other people hear this, it allows them to get free, because so many people believe the lie that they're alone. Like, my email address growing up was misunderstood soul, because I felt like no one understood me. But the reality of the situation is there are so many people who are facing the same issues, that are facing the same trials, traumas,
mm,
tribulations. Like, it's shared, but the lie says you're the only one going through this. No one's going to understand you. And so being able to share allows someone else to see, hey, I'm not alone in this. And that's really what we need. We need that connectivity. We are designed by nature to be connected and in community. And when a trauma like that happens, we isolate within ourselves. We feel isolated. We feel cut off from the world. And being able to know and see I'm not alone is the biggest thing for me.
absolutely, absolutely. And yeah, we appreciate you so much for being so brave, honest, courageous to help so many people through your poetry. So we really thank you for that. Everyone go check out These Dry Bones. Esty, I'm so curious, you seem like a very intentional person with the work that you're putting out in the world with your poetry, with your work. I know you were a teacher for you're also a teacher, you're also an educator in the classroom. What do you wish to do with spoken word poetry in the future with, your platforms and your talent and all the ways in which, poetry through TV shows, through actual collections, physical books, through education. What is kind of your wish to do to push spoken word poetry further in the future with what you do?
My goal right now really is to help these children. I have being in the classroom. I've seen a lot. I've seen a lot of different personalities. I've seen a lot of different just children come across my pathway. But I've also seen what arts and arts education has the ability to do. Not only what it did for me, because I know what it did for me personally, but seeing what it's been able to do for the kids who I have been able to work with. So the goal right now is to get poetry programs into these schools, getting arts integration into schools. I've been a classroom teacher, and I have seen the kids who were in my class who would do work for no other teacher. They did my projects. I taught Common Core art and literacy.
Mm,
And so basically, I'm teaching math, science, English. I'm teaching everything, but through art. And
mm,
I was able to reach the kids who would not go to class, would not come to school. We had a student who was in chronic absenteeism. She was always on the chronic absenteeism list. We were on a block schedule. Every day that she was supposed to be in my class, she came to school. So getting these schools to understand that arts education is where it's at is what my goal is right now. Getting to work with these different schools and school districts to get these arts integration programs into their schools, so these kids have a place where they can feel safe and they can thrive. Social emotional development is necessary. And so I have a course, a 12-week course that is able to help the kids come to terms with their identity and figure out who they are, but they're doing it in a creative and expressive way through poetry and through art. So that's what's on the agenda currently.
absolutely. I want to know for you, how has poetry changed your life?
I would say poetry gave me it gave me new life because I was going through the motions, just existing. I was not someone who felt like anything was worth it. I was just going through the motions. And so when I came into contact with poetry, it gave me this new sense of being able to feel again, because there's this numbness that you put yourself in, and poetry allowed me to have the safety of feeling these feelings because I knew what to do with them. Now I could process them through my pen.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, no, we really appreciate you and all the amazing work you're doing. Tell us these days, what is the inspiration for your poetry and your writing? Where are you really finding your inspiration from? Is there going to be a follow up to these dry bones? Maybe these moist bones? No, I'm just kidding. But like, tell us these days. I mean, what are you finding in terms of inspiration? You had mentioned children getting the art in the school. I would find that to be such a constant kind of well of just different thoughts, different ideas. But for you, where you really, where's your art? Where's your poetry? Where is it pushing you from? Where are you finding that push to keep on going and writing?
The push to keep writing, it really is coming from where I want to see the world. I want to see a world where people are in touch with their creative side and in touch with art and in touch with just being able to express themselves, even if it's just for them. So just being in a space where there's collective healing, that's what's pushing me right now.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for that, Esty. Now, final question before we wrap up today's interview on the Poet Speaks podcast. Esty, tell me, why do you need to get your words out?
I need to get my words out because there's someone out there who's feeling alone. And I need them to know that they are not alone and we are in this together.
Absolutely. Nice and sweet. All right. Well, Esty, tell us, what's the rest of your 2024 looking like for you and your poetry? And tell the folks, where can they find all of your amazing work? Any links, websites, social medias? Please do tell the world.
Yes, yes, yes. So estmarie.com, that is the main hub to where you can access my online course, my get in contact with me if you are a district leader or someone who is a principal looking for any of that programming for your school. You can reach me at estmarie.com and it links to everything else, Arts Reach Consulting and the whole nine. So that is where you can find me.
Absolutely. No, and everyone go check out all of Esty's amazing work, all the work she's doing for the communities that she serves. And Esty, thank you so much for being a guest today on the Poet Speaks podcast.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Again, everyone, Esty's links will be down in the description box, no matter where you listen to the Poet Speaks podcast. Check out her links in the description box below. Again, Esty, a big thank you. We really appreciate you being a guest today on the Poet Speaks podcast. Everyone, stay tuned. Look at us for us next time. All right. Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye.